And so, can you quickly explain the differences between a carbon tax and cap and trade? A lot you hear these terms. What do
Okay.
they
Yep.
mean?
Okay. So, um, I they are both what I would call a price on carbon. And there's two ways you can price carbon. And there's two ways you can price other things. We've had this experience with acid rain and other things before, but there's two ways to price a pollutant. You can tax it. And that's, of course, that's got a very bad three-letter word that a lot of people don't like. But and what you're doing with the tax is you're saying to the private market, and to people and to companies, here's the price of carbon. Based on this, you figure out what you're going to do in terms of your purchases and equipment and how you're going to run your plants and whatever. It sort of sets, and so you start so that you start with a price, and then you don't know exactly what quantity you're going to reduce it by, but you know it's going to be something. So there's
Mhm.
going to be a reaction to a price. Whereas the cap and trade, you start with a quantity. And you say, okay, based on the science, this is how many tons that we can allow. And you, smart free market, you figure out what's the clearing price? What price do I need to get to that tonnage? So in one, you're fixing the price and determining the quantity. The other, you're fixing the quantity and determining the price. So from a from an environmental point of view, a lot of people would say, well, that cap and trade, that's really attractive. I mean, you set the quantity and the free market, and you don't have this three-letter word called a tax in the system. It looks more benign, but the impacts are similar. And this was hugely successful. People may remember with acid rain, and there was a cap on sulfur dioxide emissions.
Yep.
The industry, said it was going to be the end of the world, and it wasn't. It just wasn't. It was effective, and because the technology was there. But the real trouble is that when you start with a quantity for Canada,
Hmm.
then you say, well, Alberta, you're this much, and Ontario this much. Well, you're going to have a fight over that. And then you say, well, industry, you're this much, you're going to have a fight over that. Then you say the steel industry, you're this much of industry. Oh, well, I've done this and I've done that. And then you say to Vale or to Dofasco, well, you're this much. So you've got endless fights, and people know people, and it's a fight. And people are going to, I've done this and I've done it, and you should look at Joe. It's tough. So the part of the attractive part of the tax is that you don't have all those fights. You're setting a price and people react to it. Um, the interesting thing, we actually have two carbon tax systems in Canada right now. One we're going to get rid of, the consumer one that everyone's talked about, but there's another output-based one that is based on industry, that it is paid by industry. So we do end up, and it's sending a signal to cement companies and oil companies and to aluminum companies saying, this is what you should make your decisions on, the price of carbon. So they are making their internal investment decisions based on that price, and that gets incorporated into their
Yeah.
system. It's been found to be more effective than the public carbon tax. It's found to be more or less expensive. And interesting enough, it's not one that I'm sure Mr. Polyev and his policy people know of it. They haven't talked about it. I think they're going to leave it alone. I think Mark Carney wants I think he wants to build on it. It's a little bit vague, but I think that's his plan. So
Okay.
those are the two systems. They're both a way to price a pollutant. One is through a tax, and the other is through a cap and trade.